Welcome to Interludes with Chris Mackenzie. And it was once again with huge pleasure, great pleasure, enormous pleasure that I welcome Alan Hopgood to the studio again. Well-known actor and well-known playwright. He's got it in all aspects. Wonderful.
Hello, Chris.
Lovely to see you again. Now, we're going to do a little roam through your life and bits and pieces that you want to talk about.
Yes, you see, it's amazing how various elements of life come together.
Yeah.
I mean, as we were talking last time, my big hit as a playwright was And the Big Men Fly. And little did I realise how much that would synthesise a lot of things in my life, bringing me up to the present day. Because 8 years ago I had surgery for prostate cancer, which is pretty devastating.
Yep.
But what I did was I kept notes of my reaction to it all, and my urologist asked me to compile it into book form, provided I survived the surgery, of course, which I obviously did.
Yep.
And the book came out, and it struck a lot of chords with men, because men, as you know, are pretty reticent talking about their health. So I was invited to ask to speak at men's health nights around the place, which was the first of the what I call the quiet revolution.
Yes.
You know, they're all over the place now.
It was very quiet. It was silent for a very
so
long
quiet.
time.
Men wouldn't talk about it. And as a result of that, I wrote a play called For Better, For Worse, which was based on my experience. But most importantly, I made it a comedy because I wanted to try and demystify this dreadful thing called cancer. Well, that's been hugely successful insofar as its impact. I mean, it's not the sort of thing you queue up at the box office to see a play about cancer, but it has toured quite extensively. And it was quite interesting, the fact that several years after that, I found myself writing on yet another health topic, which was Alzheimer's.
Yep.
I actually wrote a documentary for the Alzheimer's Association with the late George Fairfax in it. But then somebody came to me, as an actor, I do another one-man play, which is called The Emperor of the Ghetto. And I was performing this at a college, and a chap called Scott Ramsey came up to me afterwards and said, I've got a great topic for a one-man play. And he told me that his mother had passed away, not through Alzheimer's, but with Alzheimer's. And he told me stories about his mother. It coincided with the fact that my own mother-in-law died with dementia, and several friends and neighbours are going through the experience of caring for somebody with Alzheimer's. So I compiled this play called The Carer. The idea was for me to perform it as another one-man play, but I was so busy with the cancer play, because I'm in that, and it's most important that I tour with that.
Yes.
I thought, who the heck can I get to do the carer? And one of those miracles in life was the fact that I thought, Bud Tingmore, the perfect person to perform this play. And so I approached him, fully aware that he'd lost his own wife just 2 years before, not through Alzheimer's, but he actually cared for her and virtually retired in order to do so.
Yep.
And he read the script and he said, bit close to the bone, but it's a good script. I think I'd like to do it. And fortunately for me and for everybody else, because he's now done 160 performances of it, he agreed to do it. And where I say it synthesizes things through my life is the fact that his wife in the play, we don't see her because she's died before the play starts, was a concert pianist. And one of the pieces that she recorded for him was Liszt's Schumann's dedication, the Liszt transcription of Schumann's dedication. Now, this happened to be a piece that I grew up listening to because my sister was a very good pianist, and this was my mother's favourite piece. So if ever we had Sunday around the piano, Mum would say, play dedication. So here's dedication.
Good. That was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Tozer playing the Liszt transcription of Schumann's dedication.
I can see how it would become... it's a piece of music that you'd have all your life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Which is what I've had.
Yeah.
And of course, it underpins the play very much because for those of you who don't know the story, Bud actually comes in at the beginning with the urn bearing his wife's ashes. And normally people would think, my God, that's a pretty sad play that's going to follow that. But in fact, it becomes very positive and very funny.
Yes, it does.
Because we focus on what this man does with his situation.
Yep.
And he's not going to sit in a corner and curl up and feel sorry for himself, which is wonderful because it actually parallels Bud's own experience.
Yes, like him. Yeah.
And I mean, he's often said during the run of the play, because he's done 160 shows, you know.
Wonderful.
And he's often said, well, you know, after caring for Audrey, he said, I could have been still sitting there in my lounge room looking at my scrapbooks and feeling a bit sorry for myself. But instead of that, of course, out of the corner came the offer to do things like The Castle, that wonderful movie. And of course, he hasn't stopped working since.
No.
And I mean, he's currently thundering around Australia with that horse opera called Man from Snowy River.
That's right. I'm going to be seeing that.
So, you see, the play is both a wonderful suggestion of how we can cope with that sorrow, but Bud himself is a wonderful example
Yes.
of how to cope with that sorrow.
So the perfect person to do it.
The perfect person. It was absolutely a miracle that I thought of him. And, of course, the wonderful thing about it is that people go along and they hold hands with him on the stage, if you see what I mean. If they're going through the same experience, they feel, he's gone through it too. Yep. I'm going through this experience with him. And, of course, they're holding hands with people in the audience who are going through the same thing. But do you know the wonderful thing about it? We've had school children go to see this.
Have you?
I was absolutely amazed. One performance in Sydney, we walked in for a matinee and there were 2 rows of school kids from Bega.
Good heavens.
And I almost said, what the hell are they doing there? They're in the wrong place. But indeed, they loved it. They stood up and gave Bud a standing ovation at the end. And thereafter, we've always made a point that it is a play for all ages. Because not only do they love seeing Bud on stage, that wonderful icon, they also enjoy the comedy of his performance, which is a bravura comic performance. But also they're learning about the problems that their parents might be dealing with, their parents and so on and so forth, They're giving them a perspective on their grandparents perhaps.
And nice and early in life too, instead of waiting for it to be a dreadful shock in later times and saying, but this shouldn't be, can't, you know, it does.
So in a funny way, I've become the medical playwright. From football to cancer to Alzheimer's.
So,
there you are.
So the cancer one, are you acting the cancer one?
I act, yes. I act myself.
Yeah.
Which is actually, it's not an ego trip, but it's considered important that I do so. Because at the end of that play, we always have an information panel. And as I'm not a doctor, I'm just a survivor, I can certainly speak on that basis of authority, but I can't answer medical questions. So we have the real thing. We have GPs or urologists or community nurses or something like that.
This is a seminar that
No,
is being organised, is it, for that?
I now do that play in several versions. One is a straight play with 6 actors in it, which we will follow with an information panel. But I do a shorter version with just 3 actors that takes 35 minutes, which fits very nicely with a panel which follows. And the other version that I do quite frequently with the Cancer Council is we show a video version of the play and then follow that with the information. And the video, of course, is much easier to cart all around the place. You know.
So you've been, I believe, hurtling around Victoria and in and out of Victoria doing the seminars with the video and...
That's right.
And you talking and...
I'll do about 5 or 6 of those a year for the Cancer Council. And we also have the play, which is available, but that's a vastly more expensive exercise. But we have toured Tassie and South Australia and Victoria with that. And I think the thing that we achieve with it is we tackle some very, very confronting topics. Not only the diagnosis of cancer in itself is a terrible word, as you know, A lot of doctors say to me, the moment I say cancer to a patient, I might as well stop talking because they don't hear anything else, you know. So we want to demystify that word because in a way, cancer can be the white man's version of pointing the bone. A lot of people, when they're diagnosed, they just say, oh, I might as well start dying now. And in fact, if you take that attitude, you can accelerate.
Yep.
But you can also survive cancer.
Absolutely.
And I'm an example of that.
And to travel around doing that must be enormously rewarding.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
And this is the same with the carer, because Bud has toured 4 states now, which is a terrific task for a 79-year-old. But
he's 79.
He's 79. He's closer to 80 than 79. And doing perhaps sometimes 6 or 8 shows a week. And always at the end, he will come out, and if there's any of the audience left there, he'll have a chat. And that's both wonderful for them, but it's also wonderful for him. And I find the same thing with the cancer play, that having done the play and the information session, I then mingle with the audience, the people who are left there, and it's this swapping of experience which is so life-affirming, and it's not just for them, it's for me, you see.
Yeah.
So both Bud's and my batteries are constantly recharged by this wonderful interaction.
Well, when I saw the carer, I must admit I saw Bud out in the lobby, and you too, because I recognised your face, and I thought, oh, I'd love to go over and say hello, but maybe I shouldn't. They're probably discussing something important. So I sort of backed off.
Well, you know, the wonderful thing is you get such feedback. I mean, I told you about starting the play with the urn, and Bud's character doesn't know where to put it, you know. And I've had people come up and say, oh, I've had that problem with the urn. I've had Mum in the fridge for 16 years and I don't know where to put it. And so this is so important to stress the fact that, yes, it is a sad subject.
Yes.
But there is comedy because there are funny things even in the midst of tragedy.
Of course.
And the more we can focus on the funny things, the better we can cope with the tragedy.
Absolutely. Now we've got some more music, I think, haven't we?
What have we got now?
What were we going to play now?
Oh, is this Olivia Newton-John?
Yeah.
Now, this is a real change of pace. I'll play this and then I'll explain the reason why.
Somewhere else to go, but I got something to tell you that I never thought I would, but I believe you really ought to know. I love you, I honestly love you. I see it in your eyes. Maybe it was better left unsaid. This is pure and simple, and you must realize that it's coming from my heart and not my head. To love you. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to make you anything at all. But this feeling doesn't come along every day, and you shouldn't blow the chance when you've got the chance to say I love you. I love you. honestly love you. If we both were born in another place and time, this moment might be ending in a kiss. But there you are with yours, and here I am with mine. So I guess we'll just be leaving it at this. I love you. I honestly love you.
Now you're looking at me in a puzzled way as
Yes,
to
I am.
what on earth. I actually sang that, would you believe?
Yep.
I sang that in a film called Hotel de Love.
Really?
And more importantly, I sang it very badly because I was supposed to sing it badly because I was the owner of the Hotel de Love, and because I owned it, I allowed myself to play piano in the lobby, and nobody could stop me because.
Whether you were good, bad, or indifferent didn't make a difference.
But the beauty of that film, it didn't do well, but.
Do we think it's serious?
Wonder why? Yes, but Ray Barrett was in it, dear Ray Barrett, and
yes.
of course subsequently I was in another film with dear Ray, which was Dal Keith,
Oh, that's touring around.
which
at
I'd
the moment,
love
yeah.
to talk to you about some other time.
Will you do that?
Yes, I would like to. Thank
Because I've seen that and I thought it was just delightful. Lovely to see Ray again.
Yes,
Also.
yes.
And a whole team of well-known characters in it.
Absolutely.
So listen, on that note, would you come back and...
I'd love to, Chris. Thank you
Oh,
very much for having me.
Aren't you a darling? Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you again in the not-too-distant future.
Okay.
You've been listening to Interludes.